Just a FYI. So
Yeah. They're doing a lot of,
well, this
video
is
conferencing and stuff.
This is part 2, and I got to say, Doug Rand is one of the most patient people I've ever met. I'd be slapping me right now if I was him. I apologize. I owe him something.
It's fascinating. It's
you lunch or breakfast someday.
Yeah.
Because this is not my style to be. We talked about it ahead, but I just had a crash, which never happens, and I actually crashed. But that's why I get in part 2. You might luck out and get 2 segments here to put up.
Well, 2 segments are good, and I don't know. I don't think I did anything to touch anything. So
no, it was definitely me, and I usually do this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
I do need to bring up my questions here and get set up. OneDrive that's another. See, I'm on a cloud drive, so almost everything is coming off the cloud now, and that's not where I want to be, though. I have some shortcuts in here. You're not a Mac person, but you definitely have. You have a lot of Mac.
I have a lot of Apple product. Right. That's for sure.
Excuse me, a lot of Apple product. You're using it right. Product. Let's see. So I apologize out there for you all watching this. The painful me reestablishing here, but we're almost ready to go, and our sound looks good.
I have to give I would be remiss if I didn't give credit to my Apple. Product to my partner, Brett South. He's the one that kind of talked me into going that way.
You're going to get a chance because we just finished up with your initial timeline, and now we've got the recording going again.
Good.
So basically we're going into round 2, and that's what I call I didn't open up the right set of questions. But I know what they are, so I'll do them by memory. Basically we're going into round 2, and that's the basic core questions that I ask everyone. So
okay.
The first thing I ask, it's a crazy question, but I'm actually collecting data on this. Do you use a Mac or PC, and what type of smartphone do you use?
Well, we have a PC in our office, PC at home, and I have the PC at home because I have a PC at the office. We do the PCs in the office just because for a lot of the legal programs it just seems to work better. They're written for the PC, and our timekeeping program and other things that just make it sensible to stay with PC, so we've done that.
Sort of my design build engineering company, it's the same thing. In the legal practice, they all were based on the PC,
right.
all your initial platforms, and that's what people have stuck with. And plus you use a lot of heavy servers, too, in a firm. You have to have that.
Exactly.
So, but for a small office and the way things are going now, the cloud, the Mac is still very good. But you're doing what I think is right. You've got the smartphone, the iPhone, and you've got the iPad.
I've got the iPad and the iPhone. I have Apple products for both of those, and I love my iPad. I take it with me, use it when I travel. We have an office in Las Vegas, and when I travel down there, it's just so much lighter and more convenient than trying to lug
on the plane
a laptop around and take it out. You don't have to take. I think the thing that sold me on it is you don't have to take it out of your bag when you go through the TSA check, where you do have to still take your laptop out. So.
Plus, it's good entertainment too. It lasts.
Great entertainment. Battery lasts a while, and I can
So I always put this out. One of the things I do is I help baby boomers transition into newer technology. And a lot of them may have been in business with PCs. Now they're out, and their kids all have Macs and iPhones. And so I tell you, if you're going to get one product, get an iPhone.
Right.
And start there. And your business partner, of course.
He's the one that got me on it, and I transferred over from the other products to the iPhone, and have never looked back.
Well, once you get a MacBook Air, you'll really like that. You can. It's amazing what a MacBook Air will do.
I agree, and that probably may be my next purchase. But right now,
for basically writing, and you can do everything. I mean, it's just a little easier in some aspects. So, what is your favorite technology?
Well, my wife would tell you my favorite technology is my iPad.
That's good.
I can sit at home in front of the TV when I have a few minutes to watch TV and still catch up on the internet and email and such.
Do you ever watch on-demand TV on your pad?
I have watched on-demand TV
on your phone.
On my phone.
That's how we watch the evening news.
Correct.
That's good.
Yeah, so I love my iPad. My wife would certainly concur with that she sometimes says you got to put that down sometimes, but it keeps you in touch.
I think my wife is leaning. She uses PCs in her business, but she's leaning towards the iPad just like you. She took it with her this time to California for her business trip.
Yeah.
And didn't bring her. I don't think she brought her laptop.
No, I don't take my laptop anywhere unless I'm going down to Las Vegas for a trial where I know I'm going to have some heavy duty typing. Yeah. I still like to type on my PC better than I like to do, or my laptop.
You've got a keyboard. Do you have a keyboard in that?
I don't have a keyboard for that. So
you can get a little keyboard.
I've tried those, and I still just like the tactile feel of having the whole laptop keyboard.
So, what is your favorite quote?
My favorite quote, I have several, but one I just found recently that especially running for judge, it says, "In any moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The next best thing is the wrong thing. And the worst thing you can do is nothing."
Wow. That's an interesting quote.
Theodore Roosevelt.
Oh, Theodore Roosevelt?
It's a Teddy Roosevelt quote. And I just thought, yeah, that's great. Try and do the right thing. If you can't do that, especially as a judge, do the wrong thing, but make a decision. I mean, so many attorneys will tell you just the waiting is what kills you. You know,
you'll get
make
appealed.
a decision.
Right.
If it's wrong, you'll get appealed, you go overturned, but at least you've done it. You know, you haven't just sat on it.
That's the biggest thing I can say as a small businessman in construction design build is the speed at which things move is better. Get through with it, get done with it, because
get done, get through, exactly.
I had a Title 24 case that I had to deal with because we did the construction on the project years ago, and it was all in compliance, federal compliance, but the local laws changed. But it was just the time it took to get through the case.
I did one that it was a contract for a building project, and I was representing the county entity that had awarded the contract, and the other side who was contesting the contract lost at the district court on a motion, and they appealed it to the Supreme Court, but they didn't move for stay or anything, and by the time it got out of the Supreme Court, the project had been built. It was basically a moot question.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that as long as it didn't have a stop order or anything like that, that's good. And then you have liability past that.
Correct.
Builds. But what is your favorite books and author?
Well, my favorite books, I've always been someone who's a voracious reader from the time I was young. It's something I've always been. And I think over the years, my favorite books are those like To Kill a Mockingbird, Harper Lee, 1984, George Orwell. I read that in high school, and I've read it several times since. I like The Count of Monte Cristo by Dumas. And, of course, one of my latest favorites are the nonfiction, the David McCullough books, like 1776. And
that's a great book, 1776.
Great book.
Yeah.
And then the Bible.
Yeah,
Love the Bible.
You know what I was going to say? I usually tell people they can't use call it Bible because I got to clarify. I should clarify that business books are other than religious books.
Correct.
Because a lot of people do have the Bible as their first book.
Yeah.
But that's sort of taken.
And then I guess if just my dessert reading, the reading just for fun, I really like the Jack Reacher series by so I've read several of those books.
You know, one thing that I admire, and my son taught me this. He said he's an engineer, and I am too. Is read 15 minutes of something other than engineering or your business at night before you go to bed. Just read something completely different. Relax.
And I learned that in law school. You were doing so much heavy reading during the day that I had to take a few minutes and just read something like.
We'd say 15 minutes.
15 minutes or so.
And it's really very relaxing, isn't it? That's a good practice, I think, and you don't hear that very often.
I still do that. I read 15 minutes of just something fun before I go to bed.
That's good. And my son.
Or 20 minutes, or half an hour, or an hour sometimes.
Yeah, I credit my son to that. But he tries to do at least 15 minutes. If you do that, then you start.
Correct.
That's good. So, in tying it all together, we're sort of finished up with that phase now. What do you enjoy doing on your off time when you're not practicing law or running for office? Right now, you probably don't have much off time.
Not much off time, but in running for office, part of your off time can be fun, or part of what you're running for can be fun too. And going to the rib cook-off and
right.
And
there are some. There are some fun times.
I went to the balloon races this weekend.
Yeah. Oh, that's a lot of work though too. I did too, but not like you did.
It is a lot of work too. But when I like things like I do running in the morning. I try and do a little bit of 3 to 5 miles of jogging every morning.
Feed the horses behind your house.
Feed the horses behind my house. I like golf.
Yeah, Doug lives in the South Reno in the Virginia Hills, which have a lot of wild horses and mustangs, and he's got apple trees in his backyard.
And they kind of go over the fence, so the horses do come up and eat the apples right off the tree. So
lots of horses in that area.
A lot
really
of horses.
Fun.
It is. It's part of the majestic Nevada heritage.
Very good. So this is the most important question. So for that listener, what is the most important takeaway from your interview? What advice would you give the person after listening to this interview? I mean, and it's going to be someone who's probably interested in going into law, if they are already an attorney, maybe becoming a judge. So what advice do you have?
Have a goal and work toward the goal. I think if you want to be an attorney, it's an honorable profession. all the attorney jokes and lawyer jokes aside, it's an honorable profession, and it's something that if you want to do it, you certainly can do it. I would recommend, of course, getting into a good law school, as good a law school as you can. That helps with networking after you get out, and just don't give up.
You know, that's good. You know, one thing we didn't talk about, and I'd like to just mention this, is being an attorney is a really broad range of types of attorneys.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
I was if I would have become an attorney, I probably would worked the DA side or worked.
Well, when I was clerking for the court, my judge asked me what I wanted to do, because there are so many. You can do in transactional, you can do probate, you can, you know,
goes on and on.
my opponent Lynn Simons is a probate attorney.
Right, especially law is important.
Yeah, and but I wanted to litigate, and so he said, you got two choices then. You can either go into the DA's office or public defender and do criminal work, or you can go into insurance defense, which is more of the civil side of
right. No, I'm
working for insurance.
Okay, they hired a guy.
I haven't actually done like transactional work or, you know, formed LLCs. That
Oh,
type
no.
of thing.
I didn't mean that
No.
kind of corporate.
Yeah.
You've represented
Represented
and
corporations.
individuals both sides.
I represent like Smith's Food and
Right.
Drugs.
No, I'm very familiar.
And I do work for like the counties. I've been able to do a little bit civil with some of the smaller counties through a risk pool that I'm a member.
Almost all of our court cases.
Yeah, and
because you have to get specialized.
It takes a specialized attorney to be in court. That's why I think I'm the better candidate for departments there.
A lot of time in court.
A lot of time in court.
A lot of waiting too.
Well, a lot of waiting. I always hurry up and wait. But you know, the last, for example, last year while I've been running for office, I've also had 2 jury trials. One that was settled halfway through the
jury verdict take that whole entire
Oh,
process.
this was a case that took about a week to try, and then the jury spent probably about involved in cases where they take several days to deliberate, and that's nothing you want as an attorney, to have your jury go over and through your head, what did I do, or how can I do better, or, you know, what did I miss, you know,
Right.
Why are they taking so long? I thought I made a great case.
Coming in today, and it'll be up this week sometime, and you're going to be at the Republican Men's Club and other places, all out. You're going everywhere.
Everywhere, any place they'll have me, I'll go.
One group. That's good, and more exposure is better in campaigns.
I think so.
How can we get a hold of you?
Well, best way, of course, is through my website, www.dougforjudge, DOUGFOR, judge.com, and 75827.
Very good, and that'll be on the Timelines of Success link to your page here on the bottom of the notes, so we'll have that. So thank you for
Pleasure.
Okay, we're all what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull this here. Casting. Say goodbye.
See you later.
Thanks.